I am a serial compulsive starter of series. Well, one thing I really struggle with is completing and finishing series. 2025, I aim to remedy that in some way or form. So here are 6 series that I want to finish or continue with in 2025. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Luke, this is Future Fiction Reviews, and today we are going to be talking about 7 series that I want to finish or continue with in 2025 and stop starting series and just leaving them in the background for 3 or 4 years, because I'm so bad at doing that and I aim to rectify that this year. I've always wanted to do like my favourite series, my favourite top 10 series of all time. I can't do that because I don't finish series, because I'm a compulsive serial starter of series. So, without further ado, let's go to the first series that I am going to finish in 2025, which is The Jade Legacy. The Green Bone Saga by Fonda Lee. I have only read Jade City, and I read this in early 2024, and I need to finish. It's only a trilogy, so I've only got War and Legacy to read. I love Jade City. I really enjoyed it. I love the kind of urban gangster vibe of it, mixed with all the kind of like wushu martial arts and just the powers. The characters were incredible. So I don't know why I just didn't carry on with this series. It's just one of those things where you just start another series because, I like beginnings. I'm one of those people that really likes beginnings, but I should make a concerted effort to enjoy endings as well. So, Green Bone Saga, this is the beautiful broken binding editions of the books, and I'm going to be finishing that very soon. I think I'm going to put Jade War on my February TBR, but we shall see. So, that is the Green Bone Saga I will be finishing this year, hopefully. The next series that I want to finish, and I've actually only got one book left to read, and that is Richard Swann's Empire of the Wolf. I literally just have Trials of Empire to read. I had all the intents and purposes of reading it when it came out in February 2024, but I didn't, because other stuff came up and other books I wanted to read. But yeah, this is one of the easiest series I'm gonna get to finish, because it's just the last book, which is Trials of Empire. I flipping love the first 2 books. I've absolutely been invested in Von Volt and Helena's journeys through the first 2 books. I've loved the kind of horror elements that have been threaded through this kind of political fantasy novel. So I am very excited to get to the Trials of Empire, and I will get to this year and complete this trilogy, because he now has another trilogy started in the same world, but set many, I think 100 years or however many years after the events of this trilogy. So I do need to get this book finished this year so I can start his new trilogy, because I do love Richard Swann's writing. The third series I am going to try and finish in 2025, and again, just like Empire Wolf, I only have one book left of this trilogy, and this is the Licanius trilogy by James Islington. I literally just have the final book to finish, The Light of All That Falls. I flipping love these first 2 books. This was a reading experience that I am not likely to forget for a long time. It is incredibly complex. There are many different plot threads going through, hidden clues, mysteries that need answering. The characters are amazing. It's the kind of coming of age fantasy that I kind of grew up on, but in a very much more complex, deeply Richard layered way. So I am very much looking forward to completing the series. I'm going to have to try and find a synopsis for these 2 books, because it's been a while since I read these 2. There's so much like layered kind of clues and mysteries and forebodings and everything that I need to kind of remind myself, otherwise they're just going to go straight over my head when I read this book. So if anyone knows of any kind of online synopses that will literally remind me of all the important events before I read this, please let me know in the comments. That'd be much of a help. But yes, another series that I'm definitely going to finish in 2025 with just one book to read. Series number 4. This is a trilogy that I've only actually read one book on, and I've only got one book in physical format, which is Adrian Tchaikovsky's Shards of Earth, which is book 1 of the Final Architecture series. Really enjoyed this first book. Just good old rollicking space opera with Tchaikovsky's usual incredible world building, law making. You know, he's the master. He is the master of world building, the master of creating these fascinating places, incredibly fascinating characters. You know, the story that 80 years ago aliens basically destroyed Earth with kind of an alien architect came and destroyed Earth, and now, you know, humans are living on like colonies across the galaxy. So it's all about kind of finding out who these architects are, and that the lore and the mystery behind them that is set up in book 1 is fantastic. So I cannot wait to read book 2 and 3, which is Eyes of the Void and Doors of Eden. So I'll be getting those 2 books in physical format sometime in the middle of the year, and I'll be completing that probably in the summer. Space opera's a summertime read for me. I don't know why, but there you go. Series number 5 is another science fiction series by my favourite science fiction author, Peter F. Hamilton. And this is the Salvation sequence. And I have books 1 and 2. I have read book 1. And this is a really, really interesting kind of way of telling the story. Peter F. Hamilton is known for his very intricate, complex stories and narrative, and this is, you know, even though this is rather small for a Peter F. Hamilton book, it has the same amount of complexity as, you know, his big one of these has, which is his Night's Dawn trilogy, which is a phenomenal science fiction trilogy, one of my favourites of all time. But anyway, back to this. Yeah, so Salvation, it basically follows 2 timelines. It follows some kind of scientists and archaeologists who are basically, yeah, it's basically about this team of like archaeologists and scientists and bureaucrats who basically are sent as a team to go and investigate this crashed alien ship to see if it poses a threat. And then another storyline that goes parallel to it is set far in the future with an alien species, and we kind of follow these 2 stories, and as we go along in the first book, we kind of, they don't seem to be connected, but there are little clues and drops that these 2 stories are connected, even though they are based in a different space and time. So I'm really, really interested in book 2 and 3. So book 2 is Salvation Lost, and book 3, which I don't have in physical format at the minute, is The Saints of Salvation, and that completes the trilogy. So I'm hoping to get those 2 books read this year, because I just really, really loved the first book, and I don't know why I kind of just dropped off it all of a sudden. So they're going to get finished. So the 5th series that I am going to finish or continue, because I don't actually know if this author's continuing it beyond a trilogy, but at the minute it stands as a trilogy, I think, and that is the Titan Hoppers series by self-published author Rob J. Hayes. The first 2 books, Titan Hoppers and Spire Climbers, I absolutely flipping loved. Just a really good rip-roaring progression, science, fantasy novel, basically set with these colonies that basically live on these ships that are kind of breaking down, and they basically have to go and salvage parts on these massive behemoth ships that are also inhabited by lots and lots of weird and wonderful and scary and dangerous monsters. And basically they, you know, it's basically leveling up these people that go, you know, these Titan Hoppers that go onto the ships. They basically have this armor and they have special kind of powers, and like a video game, you kind of level up as you kill certain monsters, or, you know, certain boss monsters, and it just makes for a really, really fun, exciting story. Rob J. Hayes is a master of dialogue and character and world building, and Titan Hoppers is just really good fun. If you want a read that is just fun. It doesn't have to be like deep and it doesn't have to be deep and meaningful. And, you know, if you just want a good rip-roaring science fantasy story, Titan Hoppers is great. I just need to finish, what's the title? Fleet Champions, which may or may not be the last book. I don't know. I haven't really read into whether Hayes is making this like an ongoing series or a trilogy. But if I can get Fleet Champions finished, I know I'm up to date. So if I can get that read this year, I probably will. It'll probably be on my ebook, because I read the first 2 books on my ebooks as well. So that is the Titan Hoppers series. So the final series I'm going to talk about is not one I'm going to finish this year, because there are many books. But I have read the first 6 books. Get out! I have read the first 6 books of the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. And yes, these are the books I have read. So I need to get the next one after Blood Rights, which is Deadbeat. So Deadbeat is the next one. This is a good series, because basically, you know, it's one of those series where people say get to book 3 or 4 and it starts getting good. And they're not lying. I mean, I actually really enjoyed the first 3 books. You know, they kind of act as like standalone detective noir, urban fantasy. But as you get into like books 4 and 5, the world starts kind of being more cohesive. And as a whole, there are plot threads and character arcs being passed on to different books. And it's becoming this expansive series rather than these standalone urban fantasy detective noirs. The character of Dresden is evolving. He's changing. You know, he's realising the massiveness of the worlds that he has to kind of live in. So I'm really want to get... I want to get at least 3 or 4 more books done. I'd like to get to Changes by the end of this year. Whether or not I do, I'm not going to hold myself to that, because I don't know. But I'd love to get to Changes, because I've heard Changes is the Dresden File book of the series, because, as the title implies, everything changes. So I really would like to get to that. Whether or not I do is another matter. But this is a series that I'd like to continue with. I only read 1 book in 2024, so I really want to catch up with this series. And I love them. And they're great palate cleansers between the big chunky fantasy or chunky science fiction books that I read. So these are great palate cleansers. So I can get like 1 or 2 of these in every other month. That would be great. So there you have it, folks. That is 7 series I want to either complete or carry on with in 2025. I'm going to try and not start as many series as I did in 2020 in previous years, because, as I said, I'm a compulsive, addictive beginner of series and a bit rubbish at ending them. So I really want to drill into that this year and get some series finished and in the bag, so I can basically make videos and chat about them as a whole, as a trilogy or as a series, which I can't do at the minute because I haven't finished them. Anyway, that's all today, folks. Carry on reading. Let me know what series that you intend to finish in 2025, or series that have been kind of an albatross around your neck and you really want to get done and finished. Let me know in the comments. Let's have a discussion. And if you're watching this today, which is the 17th of January, don't forget on Sunday I have a live chat with Tori from Tori Talks. You can get the date and time, everything in the notes below, but that is 19th of January. That is 8 p.m. UK time, and that is 2 p.m. CST. So if you want to join us live, it'd be lovely to have as many people as possible, just to join the conversation. We're going to be talking about Tori's BookTube channel, her writing and publishing, our love of science fiction fantasy genre, and many, many more things. You know, it's just a free chat, and we'll just have a good chat and hang out and talk books. And then on Tuesday, January 21st, I am talking to author Aaron M. Payne, otherwise known as Bibliotheory, on his BookTube channel, but we're going to be talking about his debut novel, Falling into Oblivion, which I read last year and thoroughly enjoyed, really loved. Good cyberpunk sci-fi thriller, detective noir, with kind of elements of Batman and, you know, all those kind of detective cool stuff. So I really enjoyed that. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the book, his writing process, publishing. We'll talk about his booktube channel as well and how he kind of got into everything. It's going to be a great chat. So that's on Tuesday the 21st of January. That is at 9 p.m. UK time, GMT, and 4 p.m. EST. So really, really hope to see you guys there. For now, revel in the destruction of your TBR, and I shall see you guys later.